Hi everybody, I'm Johnathan Brownlee. I'm the CEO and President of Dallas Film and the Executive Director of the North Texas Film Festival. I'm here taking that hat off and talking a little bit about some films that we're developing right now that we thought would be of interest to you. And this is...
I'm Jaime Sendra, and I've been here in Dallas for about 40-some years now. But
Longer than me.
Oh, maybe.
That's right.
Yeah. And I met Johnathan a couple of months ago, maybe 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know. But it seems like I know him for life. He understands exactly the story that I brought to him. We wrote a book about diaries that my parents left. And we had to tell the story to the world because it's a story, as I was reading it, my brothers and sisters were reading it, said, this cannot stay just at home. This is something that the world has to hear because it gives us hope, it gives us happiness, it gives us something to look forward to the future because no matter what happens, love persists, and there's a lot of suffering and a lot of bad things happening, but commitment is there, and we had to tell the story.
So I want to show you something. This is what a director does. Okay, we need to take the silk. Probably the silk's got to go down about 2 feet because we're starting. See the hard spots? Yeah. Thank you. So you got to keep working every time you're working on it. Thank you.
That's knowing the film.
That's right. So I'm always looking for projects that I won't do something. The first thing I said, I only have maybe 20 or 30 films left in me, before I get buried. And so I'm not doing any film that I don't feel passionate about, that I think is that people really are gonna get something wonderful out of. And so when I met Jaime and his sister and family and started to read some of the background material of this, I'd never had the opportunity to meet his parents. They'd passed away, but I felt like I knew them instantly, right? Knew them from their writings, but also knew them from their children. And so I recently got back from Barcelona, from Catalonia, and I got to sit in some of the places that they wrote about. I got to go and walk the same streets, and at the end of the day, for me, that's exactly what it was for me. I was like, we have to make the story, and we're definitely going to be shooting it in Catalonia and Barcelona, in that area. Yeah, well, it's very funny. Actually, I think I probably made 4 or 5 films now that are either inspired by or based by a true story, and so it does present, a certain responsibility because you want to honor the story, but you also are making a film, right? And so you want to honor and make sure that you have the spirit of these people correct, even though sometimes some of the events, are inspired by, and you have to link these things together by things that maybe didn't happen. One of the wonderful things about this story is so many things happen that you really have to you can't tell everything. So you really have to find these elements that you think are important in that 90 minutes or 2 hours. But ultimately, it really is about finding the character of these people. So no matter what situations you put them in, you're being honest and true to those characters.
My name's Adam Dietrich, and our film is A Soldier's Way.
My name is Elliott Gilbert.
Well, there's the 2 lead characters are played by Tim Llewellyn and Gray Acuna, and they're both producers on the film. Tim was our other writer. They had done a duet about 2 guys, caught up in a bunker of sorts, and they wanted to expand it into a short. I had worked with them on TV, and they approached me, and I said, well, Elliott and I always make our movies together. We co-direct and co-produce. And they said that would be great. I said the other stipulation is we'd have to go and work with real military soldiers and veterans. And they were open to it. So we got PTSD Foundation of America, and they created some round circles for us. And we talked with lots of veterans and figured out kind of a story that made sense for all of us, that we could all believe in, and started developing the characters with these great guys, Derek Barr and Jeremy Locke, that are veterans themselves.
Yeah, and we didn't realize it when we walked into that, but Jeremy and they just kind of fused themselves into the characters subconsciously, And one of the original characters wasn't a combat photographer, but ended up being a combat photographer after we met Jeremy.
Yeah, Tim and Gray became Derek and Jeremy, essentially, or some version of themselves, So then, and as we developed it, we realized we didn't want to just tell the story of soldiers in the battlefield. We wanted to tell the story of all of the soldiers, the guys that have the uniforms on in the battlefield, the husbands or wives of those soldiers back home, stateside, their kids, their moms and dads, their communities, everybody that's participating in this war, whatever war it is, in this case Afghanistan, and how it's really team sport. That these guys, while they're there and when they get back, we're kind of participants, and we all experience the impact of that. There was a cool moment at the end of our journey in Terlingua. We had finished shooting, and we ate at a Mexican restaurant. We were going out to the cars to get in them, and a guy that had hung out with our buddy Palomino, who was our first AD and helped tremendously to get this movie made, and Palomino and another one of our crew members had hung out with this guy the night before and had some drinks. And so this guy's walking into the Mexican joint. He sees us leaving. He goes, "Hey, it's the guys from the film crew." And we all start talking. And ultimately, he's bearing his testimony. He's a veteran, Vietnam veteran. He starts bearing his testimony about, what it was like to serve and why people come to Terlingua. Eventually, he tells us, God created the desert to test the faith of man. And I think you passed the test. And that was the last thing we heard before we left Terlingua. And we got in the car and we were like, that's it. This whole journey has been about our faith. We didn't know what the locations were going to be in Terlingua. We hadn't scouted. We did it completely improvisationally, and we have never done that. We always storyboard every shot of our movies. But we said, you know what, there's an improvisational nature to war and to what these soldiers have to do. So we did it blindly and just believed it would turn out. We didn't know we were going to stay when we got to Terlingua.
Took a leap of faith.
And so when this guy summed it up with that statement,
we were floored, yeah.
We were floored, and the 9-hour ride just went by in a flash because we were so exhilarated from that kind of cosmic connection that we had to this community and to that man, and that just kind of continued through the post process, and now as we launch into the festival, it's just kind of that spirit of faith that's kind of fueled this film.
My name is Coulson. I'm a local Texas actor, and I'm here for the inaugural film festival at the North Texas Film Festival. Well, it was wonderful working on that. Very wonderful working on that. One of my favorite scenes didn't actually get a bit in the movie. It was on the extras on the DVD, but it didn't actually make the movies, and that was with Billy Bob when my character approaches Billy Bob and tells him how he feels about Booby Miles being hurt on the team. So that was a great scene. I loved the scene, but it didn't get shown. But another one of my favorite scenes was when Booby and I were in the car and Booby broke down crying. And that scene, just being in that scene was so interesting because Booby used so much energy crying in that scene. We had to wait about 5 minutes in between scenes for him to do it over again to get his energy back up. So yeah, that was one of the most favorite scenes in the Friday Night Lights for me. I didn't really have to prepare myself. Derek was so real. All I had to do was just kind of relax and look and watch him, listen to him, and just feeding off of his energy just helped my energy so much. I didn't have to do anything really except react. Well, usually in the script, the character is kind of descriptive, and as I read the script and read it over and over again, the character generally reveals itself to me depending on the situation of what's going on, and I try to be sensitive to that because there are always a lot of different interpretations, and I try to find all of them so that when one comes out, sometimes I don't even know it's coming out. It just comes out because that's the way the character feels at that moment. And I like it like that because it's like I'm not acting. I'm just sitting here watching this show and watching it happen. And sometimes it's a surprise to me what happens,